wonderful, I think, to hear from women, and one woman in particular is the gentlelady from Tennessee, Marsha Blackburn, who has let our conference know absolutely clearly that 80% of all health care decisions in this country are made by women. So women are in particular impacted by this decision because they're at the front line of understanding how unaffordable the President's new health care plan, how unfair it's going to be to themselves, to their families, to their parents that they often care for, how unworkable it is, and how they want to see a positive solution. We're not here just to beat up. We're here to make sure that we have a positive solution for American families, and it's women that we're very concerned about today. So with that, I would like to yield to the gentlelady from Tennessee, Ms. Marsha Blackburn.
Thank you so much, and I thank the gentlelady for her attention on this issue, and I think each of us want to thank the leadership for allowing us to have time on the floor to come to the House floor and talk directly to the American people to be certain that they know exactly what is in this unaffordable act. And we've talked a lot about why we want to delay it and defund it and repeal it and replace it, and the importance of that. And as the gentlelady from Minnesota mentioned, one of the problems that we hear from women is, guess what? The cost of insurance is going up. The President had said it's going to save you $2,500, and we're hearing now that it is going to be going up over between $3,000 and $7,500 per family per year for the cost of insurance. When you look at the cost of these exchanges, they're not saving money, it's costing them more. We're hearing reports of how out-of-pocket expenses are expected to escalate. It may be $5,000 or $6,000 per family. The costs are escalating in what families are going to be using to pay for health care. And because of that, they're looking at us and saying, you have to get the costs down. The impact of Obamacare on jobs, the 40-hour work week, which has been such a cornerstone of the American dream, such a cornerstone for hardworking families to be able to support their family, to have their children dream big dreams, to educate those children, to send them forward in the world, to do their part in adding to the greatness of America. That is being attacked by this legislation. It is indeed a law that the American people do not want because they can't afford it. Go back and remember where we started with this. And I think that this is one thing I hear from women regularly. And I had a constituent ask me recently, and it reminded me. They said, what was the purpose of Obamacare? Well, supposedly, when all of this great debate started, it was to find a pathway for somewhere between 30 and 45 million Americans who did not have access to health insurance to have health insurance. What it has become is a federalizing and a nationalizing of 17% of the U.S. economy. It is turning health care on its head in order to pay for it. Mr. Woodall mentioned the hearing that we had in Budget Committee yesterday. They've taken money out of Medicare, money that our seniors have earned. They've earned that money. They have put it into the Medicare Trust Fund. Obamacare pulls it out and puts it over here in the Obamacare pot, $600 billion worth. That money was to be there for seniors, for hardworking taxpayers. This administration picks it up and they move it over. They're implementing 20 new taxes, insurance policies, home sales, equity, you name it, medical devices, all subject to a tax. Why? They've got to find a way to pay for this expensive program that no one can afford. And all the while, we continue to stay near 8% unemployment. 8% unemployment. We have millions of Americans, 23 million Americans, who are either or underemployed, and the federal government seeking to take more of their paycheck. This is one of the reasons that about 130 of our colleagues, including the gentlelady from Minnesota, have joined me on H.R. 2809, which is the legislation that is the one-year delay of all things Obamacare. All the taxes, the fees, the penalties, the Medicaid expansion that our states don't want, the exchanges that are not ready to open. Indeed, the Wall Street Journal today, front page, another article about another glitch in these exchanges is not ready for prime time. The smart thing to do is delay it so that we can defund it, repeal it, and replace it. And at our Republican Study Committee, we have introduced great replacement language, the American Health Care Reform Act, and I know that others who are waiting to speak are going to talk about this act and the ideas we have to give individuals and patients and moms and dads more control over their health care. That's what we want. Individuals able to make their own decisions, not a bunch of bureaucrats sitting in a building down on Independence Avenue in Washington, D.C. We do not trust those decisions to nameless, faceless, unknown, unaccountable bureaucrats. Those decisions should be made by patients and doctors. And that is what we are fighting for. We are fighting for the future of this nation. We are fighting to make certain that our children know the America that we have known, an America that is robust and accepting and is welcoming to those that want to dream big dreams, welcoming to our children's ideas and concepts to build companies, to innovate, to create jobs. That is what we come to the floor to fight for. We know an important component of that is to prevent the establishment of this program that is going to be difficult to get off the books. Ronald Reagan told us regularly, there is nothing so close to eternal life on earth as a federal government program. If we have to stand here day and night in order to stop this program, let's stop it. We continue to invite the President with open hands. We invite him to come and meet with us and work with us. We're willing to work with you. Let's delay this. Let's do things right. Let's not force among the American people, force on top of them a program they have repeatedly said, we do not want it, we do not like it, we want it repealed, we want it replaced. And I yield back to the gentlelady from Minnesota.
I want to say thank you to the gentlewoman from Tennessee with all her passion and vigor, and also for the wonderful piece of legislation, because I think a good compromise at this point on Obamacare, and if the truth be told, I think a lot of Democrats secretly hope that the gentlelady's bill passes because they know this is unworkable. I think they would love to see. Yes, I will.
Encouraged when we had bipartisan agreement and support for delaying both the employer and the individual mandate, a vote that we took a month earlier this year, and we were encouraged with that. And I agree that there is, and that's such an interesting thing, there has never been Republican support for this law or the 20,000 pages of regulation that is springing up out of this law, because it is costing us jobs, it's costing us money, it's causing our hospitals to close. And we do have bipartisan agreement that the law is not ready for prime time, and I yield back.
I thank the gentlelady. That's exactly right, and that's why I say that I think if the truth be told, a lot of Democrats are secretly hoping that we can get this 1-year delay. That's a minimum compromise that we're looking at, defunding and delaying for at least 1 year. We want to save the American people from the economic misery that's just around the corner.